morning, if that's when you're watching. We are live, and we are here in the basement of the Central Jersey Masonic Center, for those of you who would like to come in person. For those of you who haven't done it or are wondering about it, you drive, park in the parking lot, and then walk down the driveway around to the back. We're in the basement with a beautiful view of the canal and the woods and the rain. So that's where we are. Where are you? Let me know in your comments section. And let me know that you can see and hear me, and we'll be good to go. I know that one viewer is on, and that person is here in the room. Okay, all right. Okay, so there's somebody else out there, so let me know who you are. And they may be on the room too. It works. Okay, always good to know. All right, so whoever you are, if you'd like to know that you can see and hear me, I will do a very special spiritual mind treatment for you. Although, again, I don't think anyone has been collecting them. Or if you have, you need to let me know. Okay, Debbie. All right, I know you will collect. So definitely I'll do a spiritual mind treatment for you. Let me know for what. This is a really important Sunday, I say, because we're going to get really into some good stuff that I need, and like attracts like, so you probably need it too. And look who's entered that room. Someone we know who doesn't need it, but okay, that's all right. Abby is here, demonstrating upon demonstrating, so we're very thrilled with her, and we love her good and claim our equivalent of that good for ourselves. Amen. So, all right. Thank you, Debbie. All right, I will do a spiritual mind treatment, so let's get going. This word is being spoken for each one, and if you would desire this special prayer to include anyone else, just think of their name now and know that this word is also for them. Or if there's any place on the planet or situation that you would like to have touched by divine truth, touched by the hand of God, just think of that name of that place now and know that it also is included. Because there is only one life. That life is God's life. Call it God. Call it the all. Call it one. Call it the universe. It is one organism, one life, living, breathing, expressing, creating, becoming form, releasing the old form, becoming a new form. And yet life itself, the total in itself, is unchanged, forever expressing in unique, infinitely different ways. But it is still itself. It is still the creator, a creator. It is still infinitely intelligence. It still is motivated by self-love. It is contemplating itself and itself alone, because there's nothing else to contemplate. And so it is this something, this one, that each one is a part of, that each one is included, and that is being thought of right now in this infinite mind. Each one is a direct manifestation of the spiritual knowing of the divine. Each one is created in the image and likeness of this creator, capable to co-create by thought, by the thought in this one mind, that which he or she desires to experience in the world. And so from the macrocosm of the all that is creating the universe and everything in it, each one is, in his or her world, the God, the first cause to that relative world. And the consciousness of each one is the substance that is used in that creation. The consciousness of each one, which is completely controlled. And each one has complete power over his or her own consciousness. Each one has the freedom of choice and is capable of choosing what to think, what to know, and what to grow in consciousness about. To grow in that consciousness and have that which he or she has grown in be the stuff from which each one's worlds are projected. And so each one is aware of this power, of this freedom of choice. And each one is one with the infinite intelligence and wisdom, and so is awake and calling on that wisdom for guidance as to what to create, as to what to have created, as what to grow into, as what to become more of. And so each one is receiving that guidance and hearing it and taking it into contemplation and making a decision about his or her life, which is worthwhile. That divine creating each one in its image and likeness is infinite goodness, and is creating each one and declaring, upon looking at each one, it is very good. All belief that one is not good enough, not worthy, all belief in worthlessness, all belief in not being enough, and all habits, behaviors, and cycles of diminishing oneself, demeaning oneself, putting oneself down is all by this word erased, evaporated, and vanished. All believing that one should be a certain way, different than what each one truly is all erased, evaporated, and vanished. All comparison of oneself to some idealized version of the self, and that idealized version, it's all erased, evaporated, and vanished. Each one is accepting the self that the divine has created each one to be, accepting it, valuing it, appreciating it, and expressing from it, honoring, respecting that true self. And as a result, each one is growing in self-worth, self-recognition, self-appreciation, self-enjoyment. And as a result, everything in each one's world reflects this and is better, is happier, is more peaceful. Each one is one with the true self that each one is. And so there's no longer any conflict, any separation, any isolation, any sense of being alone or apart. Each one is one with that true self. And so each one is fulfilled. Each one is blessed. Each one is realizing, I am enough. Perfection, wholeness, and completeness is the divine's description of each one's true self. It is very good. This is the divine decree, the divine seal of approval, already given in the act of creating each one. And so there's nothing that anyone can do to disturb that divine approval of one's true self. It is totally given, and each one is completely and totally loved, regardless of what anyone might do with this true self. The divine loves that true self that the divine has created, and each one gets that and gets the gift, the tremendous gift of this true self, and is now interested in that true self, listening to that one, expressing from that one, honoring, respecting that one, and becoming more and more of an expression and more of a projector of that true self. As a result, each one is healthier than ever before, wealthier than ever before, more fully and completely supported in all ways that each one desires to express this true self. Each one is happier and more peaceful than ever before. And each one is just seeing wonderful new opportunities opening up for him or herself that are divinely suited to satisfy that true self within. And each one is more loved than ever before, because each one is more loving of this true self that he or she is than ever before. And so with all this, each one is loving this gift of life completely and loving the expression of this good life completely. All is well, all is good, always. This word is the truth. I'm grateful it's the truth. I release this word to that loving law, knowing that it's already done. It's a done deal. Amen. Hallelujah. And so it is.
So it is.
And that's the way it is. All right. So, Tina, hello. Welcome to you too. And let's get going. We got Reverend Rich here. Got an exciting Sunday. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. And so I invite you to check in with your heart. And what does your heart love? What does your heart want? What do you really want? And just open to it. Just open to it. You don't have to tell anybody. And you're not going to be disappointed. Just open to your heart's desire and allow something more fulfilling to that desire to happen to you right now, this meeting, this day.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
Good morning. Let's try this. Great morning.
Great morning.
Oh, it worked. You never know when you do these experiments. Welcome to CSL Princeton. We are a loving, healing, inclusive community that teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind. And I'm stopping right there. You've heard it a million times. We teach and practice the principles of the science of mind. And if you heard Reverend Karen's amazing affirmative prayer, she went through the principles like bang, 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 bang. I don't even know if you do it on purpose. They just pop out. But I thought that I'd do a little quick review. What are these principles? And I don't want to go over all of them. And if you've taken classes, the last 3 classes, we do different principles for different classes. But Karen opened up with, there is one. And that is the first basic principle. There is one infinite reality which we call many names. So what are some names we call God? Divine love. I am. Lord. Universe. Yahweh. Infinite, invisible. Loving, eternal, good. Spirit divine. The thing itself.
Hashem.
Say that again?
Hashem.
So it's all what we say because it's all what we think. And this is the part I like. There is one infinite reality. It is undivided, complete, and whole. And we are individualized of that one, which is part of our affirmative prayer. And that means we are perfect and whole. This is one. Love. That's a basic principle. Love, the self-givingness of this thing, God, divine spirit, the self-givingness. Love and God are synonymous. And then that creative process is that funky diagram, if you've ever taken the class, where the descent of spirit comes down into manifestation. That is key in our teaching. And it's one of our basic principles upon which we develop our practices. It's sort of what it's about. We think and it becomes. I think there's an old rock song from the 70s, isn't there, Rich, about I think, therefore I am? Is that Cream? I don't know. I remember that back in my college days. And freedom. And Karen mentioned that. And she mentions it in every one of her, I listen, I write, I take notes. She mentions it in all of her treatments, those 15-minute amazing treatments. We have freedom. We have volition. We have freedom of choice. So we can be whatever we want to be. That's remarkable. And heaven, that's a principle. The law, we believe that heaven is within us. It's not something that we go to when we die. We live heaven. And we live heaven by all of the wonderful practices that we have. And there are many spiritual laws. Those are divine principles. Just like gravity, law of attraction, law of correspondence, law of, mental equivalence, law of circulation, that's giving and receiving. So why is this all important? It's all important because it gives us the root, the grounding for all of these practices. So we give you these practices, and you go home and you say, okay, I'll do these practices. But I think that by really understanding the principles, it gives the practices depth and the feeling that Ernest Holmes and Emmett Fox referred to in the classes that we teach. That feeling, that belief, that faith. And that's so important. And so what are some of these practices that we teach? Well, can anybody think like what's the big practice that we teach? A big practice that we teach. Affirmative prayer. That's number one on the list. Because it takes all of these principles, this oneness, our understanding our oneness, and then our freedom of choice to ask for what we want. So affirmative prayer, practicing the presence, we meditate, we journal, and do this in our classes. We do this here with Reverend Karen. Affirmative prayer, by the way, every day you can go onto the website and listen to that beautiful affirmative prayer, whichever one it is this month. And you can do them yourselves. Anybody that's been here knows we are all practitioners. This is so wonderful. Visioning. I think that might be a fun Sunday day.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to do that. We're going to have a visioning Sunday. It's a wonderful practice that helps us get clarity on our purpose and how and where and why and whatever. Yes, visioning. See, coming up here, you just get so many ideas. Working with a practitioner is a practice. Some people work weekly with a practitioner. I work monthly with a practitioner, and plus I have a prayer partner. So whoever you are, wherever you are, you can do it virtually now. How easy is that? And that practitioner holds that truth, that space of truth for you while you unfold and discover your own. It's wonderful. What else? What other practices do we have? Any? Did I miss some? Gratitude. Are we all grateful for being here today? That we have the means to be here today? That we had the mode of transportation to be here today? Aren't we grateful for the rain because we sure did need it? Oh, the practice is just wonderful. And we are in November already scheduled to have an in-person wonderful day of gratitude. And you'll just leave so elevated. You'll be amazed. Sacred giving. That's something that we talk about a lot. And sacred service. Sacred giving. It's part of that law of circulation. So I want to thank you all firsthand for all of you that contribute to CSL Princeton, because it is through your love and devotion to us and your gratitude to us, speaking of another practice, that helps us be here, that helps us give classes and spread our mission. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And sacred study. taking the classes. We have a wonderful class, and I'm so sorry it's closed because we did get some people that wanted to take it, and it was a little late. But sacred study is how we anchor some more in this wonderful practice, and how we get closer and closer to the expanding of our own consciousness, to that place that we're all striving for, that heaven on earth. And I know we've all had little pieces of it. So I was going through, somewhere I put it, I was going through the mission statement of CSL.org, and I thought I had it here, but I don't. And I don't remember it, but it's so remarkable because it's really about, in a nutshell, that we are all here to know the principles, do the practices so that we can be the light for the world, that we can. And so just by you being here, we are contributing to the expansion of the consciousness of the world. So I am appreciative for all of you being here. Now we do have another community event coming up. We're having a pumpkin fest. So this is my little, what is it called when you show somebody something and you're giving a speech? Show and tell, a little prop. Thank you. Anyway, it's a fuzzy pumpkin because on November 6th, we're going to have a pumpkin fest in person after the regular service, and there's going to be pumpkin treats galore, pumpkin food galore. We haven't even figured out all of it yet, but we know we will be divinely guided, and it will be wonderful. So those are my announcements for the day. Thank you all for being here, and enjoy the rest of the service.
And you know that any pumpkin products that we have will not have fuzz on it.
Oh, no fun, no mold. Ew.
Peace is the answer. Love is the way. No, I can get there if I just get away. Now let spirit guide me, take me by the hand, walk me to the waters of the promised land. Kindness is the answer, compassion the way. I know I can get there if I just get today. Let spirit guide me, take me by the hand, walk me to the waters of the promised land. Joy is the answer, laughter the way. I know I can get there if I just ask today. I let spirit guide me, take me by the hand, walk me to the waters of the promised land. Peace is the answer, love is the way, kindness is the answer, compassion the way. Joy is the answer, love is the way. No, I can get there if I just get today.
Good morning. I'm Regina Quince, one of the licensed practitioners at the Centers for Spiritual Living, Princeton. Thank you, Reverend Karen, for your 15 minutes of wonderment. Thank you, Reverend Rich, for lifting us with your musical tones. And it's interesting. Thank you, Susan. Interesting enough, I'm going to read from the Science of Mind. So it's lovely how Spirit just pulls us all together and without even speaking, just tells us the direction to go. Because I was going to go to Barbara Bister, but then for some reason, Spirit said, you know, let's talk about a law. So I'm going to read to you a segment of the science of mind, the law of attraction. Sit back, relax, and listen to the wisdom that is embodied or is communicated in the science of mind, our spiritual philosophy, written by Ernest Holmes. Your word, which is one with the infinite life, has been spoken in calm trust. It will be taken up at once, and it will be operated on. Sorry, I have all these spots that I have in this book, and they're falling out. Okay. Perfect is the pattern, and perfect will be the result. Your word is now establishing it forever. See this, feel it, know it. You are now encompassed by perfect life, by infinite activity, by all power, by all guidance. The power of the Spirit is supplying you with all good. It is filling you with life and love. Thought is very subtle, and sometimes when you are making such an affirmation, arguments will rise against it. Stop at once and meet those arguments. Refuse to accept them. We speak into our words the intelligence which we are, and backed by the greater intelligence of the universal mind. Our word becomes a law unto the thing for which it is spoken. There goes forth from this word the power of the infinite. Treatment is a thing of itself. It is an entity of infinite intelligence, life, and action, and nothing can hinder its operation but unbelief or a lack of adequate mental equivalence. They could not enter in because of unbelief and because they limited the Holy One of Israel. And that was in quotes. Never depend upon people or say that things must come from this or that source. It makes no difference where things come from. Say that they are, and let them come from where they may. And then if something occurs which points to a place for them to come from, it is correct to say, in quotes, if this is the place, then there is nothing which can hinder, end quotes. Nothing moves but mind. God makes things through the direct act of becoming the things which he creates. This is what we do, for our thought becomes the thing thought of. The thought and the thing are one in reality. What a man has and what he is the result of the subjective state of his thought. Keep on subjectifying thought until the balance of consciousness is on the affirmative side, and nothing can hinder it from demonstrating. This is inevitable, for this is the way the law operates. A good operates. And then from Bitzer, just a couple of sentences. Your attitudes towards others reveal your basic attitude about yourself. You are where you are in life because of what you are in your thinking. Thought manifests. And so, I speak this treatment for each one here, each one listening to this meditation and talk, each one that's in consciousness or choosing to be in consciousness with this idea from this one mind, this creator, this intelligence, this idea that created each one here, that lives and breathes and circulates in each one. For it is in us, as us, and of us. Therefore, unfolding in each one's magnificent life, good, pressed down and overflowing, ideas fulfilled, desires manifested, creativity abounding, abundance and prosperity circulating through each one's experience. And in those moments that doubt, fear, uncertainty presents itself, each one turns within, acknowledging the one, that each one is the I am that I am. Each one surrenders to gratitude, grateful for the gifts of life and love, happiness, beauty, and joy, and peace. And so this word is law. It is done. It is experienced. And say with me, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Maybe we're all different, but we're still the same. We all got the blood of Eden running in our veins. I know sometimes it's hard for you to see. You're caught between just who you are, who you want to be. If you feel alone and lost, and you need a friend, and everybody's beginning is some beginning's end. Welcome to wherever you are. This is your life. You made it this far. Welcome. You got to believe that right here, right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Welcome to wherever you are. When everybody's in and you're left out, you feel it drowning in the shadow of a doubt. Everyone's a miracle in their own way. Just listen to yourself, not what other people say. When it seems you're alone and you're feeling down, remember everybody's different. Just take a look around. Welcome to wherever you are. This is your life. You made it this far. Welcome. You got to believe that right here, right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Be who you want to be. Be who you are. Everyone's a hero, everyone's a star. When you want to give up and your heart's about to break, remember that you're perfect, God makes no mistakes. Welcome, wherever you are. This is your life. You made it this far. Say welcome. You got to believe that right here, right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Welcome to wherever you are.
Bon Jovi. And what a surprise, the perfect song for today's topic. So, for those of you who've been around during this past summer, you know that we had a project of increasing our monthly income by more than $500 each month, month after month. And I did a spiritual mind treatment for each of us who was participating, and you were participating just by saying to yourself, I'm participating, and claiming more than an increase of more than $500 each month, month after month. So wherever you are with that, ideally, you have hit a ceiling. I know that there's some people who shared that they never got any increase at all. Okay, so boom, you're at your ceiling right there. I know that I had hit several ceilings and I had to work myself through it. Well, today we're beginning a six talk series using this book called The Worthy Project by Meadow DeVor. I think her name is pronounced like that. And she says in this, whether it's someone's financial net worth, the depth of intimacy felt in their relationships, their ability to find happiness and well-being, progress only happens up to a point. Then it is as if they had a self-imposed ceiling where growth no longer seems possible. And so you may have noticed that somewhere in your life, like you got so far and then you just collapsed, or you lost interest or something. But what she's pointing out, what a surprise, is something that Susan, Regina, and Reverend Rich all was saying in some way, and what we teach on the Science of Mind, which is our consciousness creates our world. And so what we want to do, those of us who've been around for a while, is improve our consciousness, or as Regina shared from Ernest Holmes, keep subjectifying or embodying in our beliefs about ourselves more and more good, more and more of whatever we desire. Well, Meadow boils it down to this. What if I told you, her first sentence, what if I told you the quality of every single aspect of your life, your relationships, your bank accounts, your home, your emotional health, boils down to one thing? And we all here would go, yeah, we know, consciousness, it all boils down to it. But she uses another word, which might be of value to us. It boils down to our self-worth. Our unconscious sense of how much good we believe we deserve. She says, worthiness is the quality of deserving attention, energy, and respect. It's not confidence. It's not bravado. You can't fake it. She says, to live as if you are worthy means you are connected to this world, to your life, and to yourself. It means that every part of your life, your finances, your boundaries, your relationships, how you keep your home, what you wear, receives attention and respect. It means that you begin to deal with the leaky faucet, and you initiate that difficult conversation with Aunt Hilda. It means that you make a small attempt to use your voice, or that you take a baby step toward bettering your relationship with money. In other words, self-worth means to me that I care enough about myself to do something for myself. She also says, worthiness is like a muscle, and so you can strengthen it. There's our salvation. She says that there are things you can do to strengthen it, and there's plenty of things that you can do to weaken it. And so what we're going to become aware of is, what are we doing that is weakening our muscle and we don't realize it? All right? She says, think of worthiness as a strong backbone with a soft heart. I like that. The backbone is held strong by dozens of muscles working together. Their strength holds you, protects you, gives you support. And the soft heart allows vulnerability, intimacy, and authenticity to shine through. So we don't want to be all tough, which is what we think we need to do, right? No, but to have that strength and the softness of love. That's what self-worth is. And she says, worthiness will not be granted to you or bestowed upon you or awarded to you. And no amount of money or fame or whatever can build your self-worth, because it's an inside job. But what's interesting about that is we need to build our own muscle, right? How many of you have tried exercising to build more strength in something, whatever? You have to do the work. You've got a coach screaming at you maybe, but the coach is trying to get you to move the muscle so that you strengthen it. And so the way she's approaching it, which I like, is that building self-worth is building our own muscle, and we have to do the work ourselves. It's not going to happen by all your loved ones saying, we love you so much, you're so wonderful. I see some nods. So apparently we do have loved ones who have said that to us, and we've all gone, yeah, right. I mean, either if you're like me, you just disbelieve them. I'm like, oh, they're just saying that. Or another thought, which is important, is, oh, if you really knew me, you wouldn't be saying that. Now, the thing is, when she's talking about self-worth, the self that she's talking to is our true self. And that's, so many of the people who preceded me was referring to this true self. That's why we like coming to here every Sunday, or we like going to classes, because the spoken and unspoken thread throughout the whole thing is to recognize your true self, your divine self, your innate goodness. And so when we talk about a spiritual mind treatment, and what we're doing is, the steps of affirmative prayer is to first to recognize the divine, and then to recognize our divine self. And I will tell you, I am more connected with my true self when I'm here speaking this than I am the whole rest of the week when I'm being Karen. Who is not in touch with her divine self. But the more we talk about our divine self, our true self, the more we think about our true self, the more we're aware of that self that we are, and the more a say that true self has in our thinking about who we are. And so what we want to do to build worthiness is to get in touch with our true self. Our true self. The self that you think nobody would like if they really saw you. All right? So let's see. She says that we do so many things to cheapen ourselves. We undervalue ourselves. We give ourselves away for cheap. And what she's recommending is that we invest in ourselves. She began her career in being a money demonstrator, a wealth expert, self-help guru about demonstrating wealth, money, da-da-da-da-da. And then her plateau, her ceiling had been reached, and everything was taken away for her. She was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, divorced, blah, 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 and then she's like, I've got nothing to say to anybody. You know, I'm the wealth guru, and right now I'm in tremendous debt. I don't know what to do. And so this book is about her journey into accepting her true self. So, here's the thing. Our true self is not our idealized version of ourselves. And that's the self I have to do battle with. A false sense of perfection. I was raised with this ideal of the way I should be. You all heard, by now you probably all have heard, if you're saying should, you want to be on the alert because that's not honoring your true self and da-da-da-da. Well, yeah, because our idealized versions of ourselves, when we try to live up to that standard, will always make us feel worthless. Always. Because you're not the idealized version of yourself, and you never will be, and you were not meant to be the idealized version of yourself. You were meant to be who you are, the way God made you. So the experience of feeling worthless develops as we think about our idealized version of ourselves. And our experience of self-worth expands as we start becoming aware and honoring our true self. And that's the game. That's the project. She wants us to become aware of when we're devaluing our true self, and one of the best ways that we devalue our true self is by coming up with this perfectionist self that we want to be. If I just lost 10 pounds, if I just would exercise more, yeah, all I need to do is just get my act together. If I just, cleaned up my front door, if I, all that is going to always make you feel more worthless. Because you're not valuing your worth, the worth of who you already are, the worth of the real you. Do not cast your pearl before swine. I was going to say pigs. But that means you, not other people. You don't want to be the pig, the swine in your own life, where the pearl of yourself you trash, saying, oh, there's something wrong with me. If only, I dyed my hair. If only I whatever. We're putting ourselves down whenever we think we could be a better version of ourselves. And just think about all the stuff that comes up from that comparison of who we really are to some made up idea of ourselves. Because one of the things we all know about this made up ideal of ourselves is we can never become that person. Because it always gets right. If maybe you lose the weight, and then you immediately you think about something else. Well, now, I got to get all my housework done, or now I got to make more money, or now I got to, get more likes on Instagram or something. The idealized version that we have of ourselves is never attainable, because built into it is this phoniness, this lie. And a lie can just keep on going. And if we attain it, I got it all. I got the money, I got the partner, I got the house, I got the body, I got the everything, I got it all. Why do I feel so empty inside? Right? Anybody ever been there? I feel so empty inside. Why? Because you filled yourself up with crapola. And the true you is nowhere to be found in all that. Right? How many of us have, why was that song so popular, right? Is that all there is? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friend, then, I'm out of here. But the thing is that none of that is. In truth, in reality, because who you are is, and satisfying that who you are is the only way you're going to feel fulfilled, full of your self, your true self, the way God made you. The way God made you. Unique. Infinite potential. It doesn't mean that you're just going to sit there. It means when you really accept who you are, you're expressing who you are. Everywhere you are, wherever you are, you're expressing who you are. You can always do that. You don't have to have the world situation around you, the environment around you change in order to be who you are. You can always be who you are, wherever you are. And what she points out is when we practice being who we are, wherever we are, we are strengthening our self-worth. Does that make sense? I'm like going, whoa, right? So I have more to say about that in a little bit. So she talks about, she's got 6 chapters in this book, so that's why we're having 6 talks on this series. And in the first one, she talks about worthy and worthless cycles and how we perpetuate a sense of unworthiness by what our story is, what we do with it, and then what we think about that, and how we can grow our sense of worthiness. And, it's really simple. The worthless cycle. She says it starts with a story that we tell about ourselves. I can't do it. So a worthless story, she says, is any story that exalts or glorifies the ideal image of yourself while ignoring or disrespecting the true self. That starts the worthless cycle. I will read it again. A worthless story is any story that exalts or glorifies the ideal image while ignoring or disrespecting the true self. The story can sound like this: I hate my hair. It's a criticism about not living up to your ideal image. It can also sound like, I wish my hair were thicker. It can sound abrupt, abusive. I'll never amount to anything. And it can sound oddly optimistic. If I just keep trying, I'll eventually get there. She says you can usually spot a worthless story because even though the story might promise a worthy future, in the moment, it makes you feel worthless. So that's the clue. So I had a little experience. I went to the library yesterday. Library, my little version of heaven and abundance. All these books, I can take them all, and I can pick just the ones I want. And so I had to stop to make at the library because a book I had ordered had come in, and I had finished reading a book, so I went and returned my book, and I got my new book that had come in, and then I proceeded to waltz around the library, scanning all the shelves for the new titles, the old titles, just getting filled with inspiration, and starting to pick out books. I like this one, I like that one, this looks good, that looks good. And then I stopped because I have 4 library books in my car, unread. And then I happened to be preparing for this talk that morning. So I thought, okay, if I load up my arm, which is what I usually do, 5+ books loaded up, I feel so good leaving the library with all these great inspiring titles all here. And then I thought, and then what do I do with them? I put them all somewhere, and then I start reading 2 or 3 of the books at the same time. I've got the car book, I've got the home book, I've got the audio book, I've got the cell phone book, and I've got a 3rd book that moves around in my bag wherever I go. Because God forbid I should be without a book. And there's all these books. And I thought about it. How do I feel about this? And I realize day after day of looking at all these books I checked out that I'm not reading because I don't have time. I am reading some, but I start feeling like you got to read these books. You're not reading these books. There's something wrong with me because I'm not reading all these books. Now, I took all these books out of the library. It's felt in the moment like a good thing. You wouldn't think it's like, because she said, worthless story begins with, it makes you feel worthless, but in the long run, there's a future. Well, here's like a different version of the whole thing, whereas I start off feeling great. Oh, well, there's other examples like that, right? Say you're going on a shopping spree to make yourself feel better. Or say you just want to give yourself to people. I'm a member of, obviously rowing is my thing right now, and they're starting to do an auction, and the new rowers are thinking, we'll put together a package for the new rower. And I thought, what would be great in that package is a knitted thermos holder, because they don't like us to put our actual thermoses in the boat because it could hurt the hulk of the boat. It's very fragile there. So they always want us to put a sock around it so that the thermos doesn't roll around and wreck the boat. And a friend of mine gave me this, thermos thing to knit. And wouldn't that be wonderful if I volunteered to do that? And last night I was at yet another fundraiser for this event, and they were talking about these things that they were going to put together, and everything in me wanted to go, and a thermos holder knitted is like a really great idea, and I'll do it. And now you all know how many knitting projects I have on my table right now. And yes, it's a good thing to do, but you see, that habit of giving myself away for cheap, and overloading myself with knitting projects and with books that I never have time to read, and knitting projects, what does all that do to my sense of worth? Why am I getting all that stuff? Who is this woman who's going to knit all these things and read all these books, and bring home the bacon and fry it up too? I mean, who is this person? It's not Karen, because Karen doesn't like to read that much, and she doesn't like to knit that much. So what am I doing? And you all know I'm not going to cook. So, and yet I keep feeding her. So I have this revelation of myself in the library, in front of the new murder mystery section. And I put the books away. And I'm like, one in, one out. I return a book, and I take a book. And this is for my book club, which, by the way, I have never yet finished a book for that book club, but oh well. Maybe this time I will. It's an audiobook. That ideal version of ourselves is insidious. You don't even know it, but yet you keep comparing yourself to it, and again, as soon as you do, boom, the worthless cycle gets going. So she says, it begins with that worthless cycle, like I get out of the bathroom, I weigh myself, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just going to lose a couple pounds. That's all it is. Right there, what is that based upon? It's based upon an overall story that I believe, right? The consciousness of Karen, I'm not good enough the way I am. I'm not lovable the way I am. I would be so much more lovable if, I didn't have these little extra pounds. I would be so much more lovable if blah, 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 blah. And so what we want to realize is once we have that worthless story going, it causes us to engage in a worthless behavior, piling up all the books, and then it reinforces, the results of that reinforces the story, I'm not enough. It's a cycle. So I feel like I'm not good enough. I need something to make myself better. Let's fill up with books. Let's fill up with food. Let's fill up with shopping spree. Let's fill up with serving other people so that they, have to love me, or at least they can't get rid of me. And the result of that is I feel even more worthless. So that's the worthless cycle. And so what we want to do is, she says, is flip it to the worthy cycle, which is exactly the same. You start with a worthy story. I can do it. I am enough. Looking good. Whatever that is, making a choice that follows that, and then the results improves your sense of self-worth. So that worked for me yesterday morning. I do not have 4 or 5 additional library books in my car right now. I do have the old ones, but I don't have the new ones in there right now. I feel pretty good. I do feel good about myself. And I'm thinking, maybe there's something to all this. All right. And she says, right, to exercise this worthiness muscle, she says, focus on small and unexpected corners of your life. Not the big things, but the little things, the library books, the little things. It's much easier to flip the switch from worthlessness to worthiness when you do something little. So I'm a member of, Fly Lady, Finally Loving Yourself, a woman who helps you basically clean your house. That's what she's here for. Here to clean your house in baby steps. So her whole idea was originated with someone who was in this teaching of the science of mind. She asked that woman if she could take it and fly with it and do her own thing. That woman very generously said, yes, go for it. And so she's got this whole online business for decades now called Fly Lady. And when you join Fly Lady, your first instruction is to shine your sink. Even if you have to take all the dirty dishes out of it, shine the sink. That step alone changed her life. And it certainly has affected me, because every time I come to my sink and I see it empty and clean and shiny, I feel good about myself. It builds my self-worth. So this is the good news. We don't have to have a major revolution of ourselves in order to start building our self-worth. We start with the little things that we can handle and then go step by step. So these 6 weeks, we're going to take her exercise and practice it. Now here's why I'm laughing. Her first exercise, our first assignment, should you choose to build your self-worth, don't have to. Don't know why you're here if you're not. Right? Like attracts like people. I'm sorry. What you see is who you are. Okay, so very important. Rule number 1. Under no circumstances are you allowed to do this exercise with the intention of self-shaming, adding to your to-do list, or causing yourself overwhelming shame spirals or anxiety. This exercise is only to be done with compassion and love. Well, good luck right there, right? It doesn't matter what she tells us. We're like, oh. Now, here it is. Take a picture of your front door. Don't do anything with it. Don't change it. Don't fix it up. Exactly the way it is. Don't change anything. Just take a picture of your door as it is in this moment and then study the photo. Look for clues or evidence that shows a disregard of true self. And she, when you're checking in with your true self, which might be a challenge right there, because I know when I first came into this teaching, the true self of Karen did not exist. I mean, she was there, but she was, I mean, the idealized version of Karen had so taken over that even I didn't know that there was a true self there. So talk about feeling like empty inside, please. So the way you check in with your true self is you ask yourself, what do you love? What do you desire? And how would you be represented here? So you're just looking at the photo of your front door, not the door itself. You're looking at the photo, blowing it up, looking all around, and asking yourself these questions. And then determine a few small changes that you can make to your front door to reinforce the idea that your true self is worth your time, attention, and energy. By taking action to respect and care for your true self, your front door will become a daily reinforcement of worthiness. Take an after picture, journal your findings. So, the reason why I'm laughing about this is because when I read that part of this chapter, I realized months ago, I had read an excerpt of this book. And I took a picture of my front door. And I thought, yeah, the paint was old, it was chipping, it was a mess. The numbers of my address, the nails weren't in, they kind of were hanging, whatever. Every once in a while I would push the nail in so it would go there. I mean, it was just a disaster. And then I took a few small steps. I started washing. I washed the front door. It needed to be painted, but that's an association thing. But I washed the front door, and I added, a little thing to hang on the front door. And I totally forgot about where I got this thought from. But ever since I've walked up to my home, I've noticed, oh, that's all clean there. The little ridges, of the panels, they're all there. They're all clean. And oh look, that's there. It would build my self-worth. I mean, the whole thing was a disaster. Well, this is the thing. For some reason, my association had planned on painting our doors next year. I had spoken to one of the people who said, we're going to paint the doors next year. Well, for some reason, they decided to do it a couple of months ago, after I took the picture. After I said, oh, it needs repainting. I totally forgot about all those thoughts. And the association had come and painted my front door and all the side panelings. And they had re-nailed my numbers. And I had taken a picture of it again because the screen door is all rusted and they wouldn't paint the screen door. And I'm like, Kim, please. And they're like, no. I'm like, I did everything I could, and the guy was not painting my screen door. So I had taken another picture because now I wanted my screen door painted. And it's at this point that I read this in this book. So be careful. Because the divine created our true selves for us to be our true selves. And she gives a couple of examples of different clients she had who took pictures, right, various versions of how it looked. But there was one client whose front door was gorgeous. It was black and white, beautifully painted, with 2 tall trees, perfectly manicured or landscaped or whatever. Beautiful, with a little Adirondack chair in black, whatever. I mean, it was picture perfect. And when the woman looked at it, she cried because her true self was not represented. She said, I don't like black and white. And I'm a little messy. I'm a little different. And she went out and she brought this bright orange cushion and, some bright red chair and put that there. And she notices every time she walks up to her house that she feels this urge to get rid of those things. And she's like, no, those represent me, the real me, and they deserve to be there. So this is just an exploration of just to see where you're at. Your front door, if that works for you. There was another woman whose name was not on the door. Her husband's name was on it, but her name was not on it. She said, it never crossed my mind to put my name on the door. So what does your door tell you? What does your door tell you? It's really not about the condition of the door. It's really about, does this reflect who I am? What I love, what I desire? Am I in this? Or is it my family? There was one house where all the kids were there. My next door neighbors, the people who live right there, they don't wear shoes inside their house. I can tell because outside their door are all their shoes. And I know who they are. I know who they are. It's very obvious. And let the world or let me know who I am. So, I put this book down. After the library, I ran right to the paint store. And I'm like, all right, how do you get rust off of metal? Steel wool. So I went to the grocery store. I bought the steel wool. And then you need the primer. And then I need the paint chip, the paint, blah, 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 whatever. But I got the steel wool, and I'm going to just start de-rusting, do what I can, and then we'll see how it goes. But this week, let's all do that project. Just take a picture of your door, blow it up, and then ask your heart, is this me? And how can it maybe it's exactly you. Then I don't know why you're here. But maybe it is exactly you, but you could ask, well, what are the thoughts that come to your mind? If it is exactly right, are you getting self-worthy thoughts? Then good. Go on to the next thing. Take a picture of the inside of the door. I don't know. Whatever the next thing is, whatever you're guided to do. But we're going to do this project. And while we're doing it this week, start noticing your worthy cycles and your worthless cycles. Just notice and see if you do anything like I do. Check out a gazillion books out of the library and then just have them all over the place. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's how we'll begin. And we'll move on, because she says the muscle can be growing, because eventually what we want to do as we build our self-worth, our wealth follows. She doesn't say that here, but Reverend Lloyd Strom and Marcia Sutton say that our worth is our wealth. And so she began with improving everybody's wealth. And wow, it led her to self-worth. Isn't that something? So maybe she knows the link and hasn't or maybe she will say it. I haven't read the whole book. But we'll do that. So let's see how we go with all this. So we'll take a moment now, and Reverend Rich is going to play something for us to contemplate how often we value and respect ourselves. and then I'll do a spiritual mind treatment. All right, let's do that now.
It was interesting as I was singing that Bon Jovi song.
Yes.
He's got a preternatural high voice. I mean, the guy is somewhat more than human in that sense. And as I was singing that song, I was saying, as I was singing it, who am I to be singing a Bon Jovi song? But it's a great song and it fit so perfectly with the very, rarely do you have a song that it fits exactly what we're talking about. So I said, I'm going to do it anyway. Do it anyway. And so that's the way mine. It's funny because I often wonder, I'm playing the guitar, I'm singing the song, I'm thinking about the song, and I'm putting myself down as I'm doing it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So mine is infinitely creative, right? Or uncreative.
Right on.
So we left with this song by Libby Roderick. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Yeah, there we go. So let's stop telling ourselves that we're anything less than beautiful, capable, powerful, and marvelous. So this word is being spoken for each one. There is only God, God the creator of all, and God only creates what it loves. And so this divine creator in creating each one already has proven that it loves each one. It loves each one completely. And it has made each one the way he or she is. God made each one the way each one is. God did it because God wanted it. Because God wanted to express itself in that way. This is important to God. And each one is that something fulfilling God's desire, just the way he or she is. Each one is accepting this gift of life that has been given and respects it, honors it, and treats it well. And from this gift of life that has been given, each one expresses him or herself easily, joyously, gratefully, delightfully in every way. Each one is already loved, lovable, and loving. Each one accepts it and feels fulfilled in this self-acceptance. This is the truth. I'm glad it's so. I release the word to the law. Done. And so it is.
One more time. Amen.
you next Sunday. Who knows how happy we will be. But there it is. Okay, so hi Scott, hi Tina, Raul, good to see you, Joe, and Debbie. So good, glad you all came, and I hope to see you again next week. Okay, bye-bye.